Hello everyone, welcome to Small Embers, the story so far, part 5. Here we go again. I'm Izzy, and honestly, they call me up to put together these rundowns of the Order of the Heron's activities with no notice. I'm an archivist and a researcher, you know. I'm meant to be working on my thesis, representation of the Badger Wars in traditional Alestian literature. But no, it's all what's Tok been up to recently. Right, where did we leave it? Ah, yes. The Order of the Heron had left Sanctuary as part of Shale's air fleet. Their destination, the distant city of Misery, where they expected to meet the automaton army of the Sons of Kale. The journey was a long one, but Petren filled his time by worrying about telling Vander that he had inadvertently, perhaps, revealed their location to Alexa Storm. And Vander himself was busy dealing with the Rat King, a tiny but powerful influence on the ship, and possibly the familiar of the malign demigod, the Hushed One. These fripperies were soon forgotten when the Sons of Kale's fleet arrived on the horizon and a blazing sky battle began. Via a combination of harnessing lightning, Petren, revealing he could fly, Tok, general swashbuckling, Seeksorrow, and good old-fashioned admiral work, Vander, the fleet from Shale was victorious. But then Petren spotted the bounder with the red blade slipping away from the Sons of Kale's flagship, and in that moment realised that Tok's nemesis was another automaton. In a moment of panic, madness, inspiration?
Or you would say, well-meaning folly.
In a moment of well-meaning folly, Petren confided what he had seen to Vander, who, without hesitation, grabbed Petren and dived off the ship towards the ground below in hot pursuit, which left Seeksorrow and Tok aboard the Vox Domini, the flagship, which Seeksorrow had his eye on.
Look, when you get the chance to go from gravedigger to airship captain, you pretty much just jump at it, right?
And every captain needs a crew. Fortunately, before anyone could say, ominous automaton injection chair, a full complement of rather animated talking animals was summoned. Our heroes proceeded to be completely outdone by their chemically enhanced extraplanar crewmates in the defence of the ship from a horrific octocog abomination. After some discussion on the unnaturalness of flight, the Concordians commandeered a hastily repaired airship of their own, thus almost instantly promoting Captain Seeksorrow to Commander Seeksorrow.
And don't you forget it, landlubbers.
Meanwhile, Vander and Petren pursued the red-bladed automaton until they met in a howling gale on a narrow bridge over a deep ravine. No, it wasn't a Star Wars rip-off because it wasn't in space, okay? Through cunning and magic, Vander and Petren prevailed, but not before learning who this automaton was. Tor, son of Torren. Tok, it turned out, wasn't the sole offspring of Tick. He had a sibling, and this sibling seemed to have missed out on the sweetheart gene. Torren was the ruler of Misery, and a key ally of the Emperor. All this they learned before Vander blasted Tor into oblivion with a fireball. Before reuniting with their friends, there were 2 further incidents of note. Firstly, the vision of the tiefling Curious Midnight, huge and ghastly in the night sky, a harbinger of doom. And second, a visit from Alexa Storm. Alexa appeared repentant of the time she had spent with the Emperor and promised she would be taking time to reflect on her life. Before leaving, she promised Petren that if he called her, she would come to his aid.
A worthless promise if you ask me. I wouldn't trust her as far as I can throw her. And I couldn't throw her any distance at all, not with my back.
Reunited aboard the Vox Domini, now christened the Gravedigger, Tok and Petren worked together to convert the mysterious statue to flesh and blood. And Vander finally discovered who it was in that cell next to him for so many years. And it's only...
Gideon Octavius Zeno Donothlian.
Quite. It's the Rogan Council member, grandfather of Augustus, former king of Cantioch, and maybe, it turns out, Benny's dad. Quite the reveal. Kudos to the DM for not flipping out and shouting, "The statues! Think about the effing statues!" 50 episodes ago. The DM? What? Who? Meta recapping! Anyway, defeated the air fleet was just the first job. Next up, the team needed to infiltrate the city of Misery itself to rescue the enslaved Firbolg people and undermine whatever it was the automatons, under the command of Torren, were plotting. Tok, of course, had the added incentive of gaining vengeance on his sibling who had killed their father. While the air fleet provided the distraction, the Order of the Heron airdropped into the tunnels below the city to seek out their foe. Unfortunately, as soon as they arrived in the subterranean network, they inadvertently opened some sort of tap that fed pure magic into Vander's veins, leading to him floating about the place, making vague yet threatening proclamations on the nature of power. It's worth noting that the same thing happened to Petren, and he stayed pretty much normal. Well, as normal as usual.
Hashtag stay humble.
Progress was chaotic, as the group continually triggered teleportation traps. Happily, Tok took control and managed to override the traps, and soon they were able to manipulate these traps to their own ends, zipping around the dungeon at will. The first interesting thing they found was a deactivated automaton army, which, with the tact and delicacy we've come to love from this group, they blew it to smithereens, with an unorthodox bomb, fireball magic, lava, eruption combo. The second interesting thing they found was a secret grove, where a group of Firbolgs had hidden themselves away from the marauding automatons. Here, beneath the earth, they tended in vain to the Runthala, the great tree of life. But despite their best efforts, it was withering and dying. Their leader gave Petren a cutting, extracting a promise that he would take it away to return to health in a new location. This tranquil scene was shattered by an automaton ambush, and most of the Firbolgs were slaughtered. In the aftermath, as the gang tried to talk Petren, who was thirsting for a quick revenge, down, Tok had another realization. The roots of the Tree of Life were ensnared with metal, and some sort of mechanical system had been draining the tree of its life. This raised a number of questions, not least what had happened to the Yogg-Sothoth, the dragon of legend that was supposed to protect the tree.
I didn't have any questions actually, I just wanted to hit someone with my axe.
Via investigation of the root system, the Order realised that their enemy, Torren, was in a vast cavern directly below them, and that by digging, they might, quite literally, get the drop on him. So that became the plan. They tunnelled straight down and, via Featherfall spell, attempted to rain death from above. The chamber was a vast vault carved out of the rock. In the centre, a large sarcophagus known as the Bergen. Caged Firbolgs watched on as the team battled both Torren and the group of automaton titans. Torren appeared to have turned the fight decisively when he used his command module to encase himself with a protective exoskeleton, multiplying his power. But Petren flipped it again by smashing his Staff of the Woodlands into the mechanical console and willing it to become a tree. Branches and roots burst through the mechanism, destroying it utterly and hugely reducing Torren's power. Oh, also, Vander turned into a T-Rex.
What can I say? After the success of Shark Vander, I felt like I needed a sequel.
As the Order of the Heron closed in on victory, Torren called out a warning. A sacrifice was demanded, and his defeat would be the death of them all. Realising he was referring to the Bergen, Petren started sprinting towards it. But Vander was closer, and he placed himself inside, making the ultimate sacrifice for the good of the group. Hang on. It says that Vander did that. Are you sure that's right? We're not working from an AI summary here, are we? No? Well, apparently that is what happened. There was silence, and then suddenly an enormous mecha dragon burst from the sarcophagus. An appalling ancient dragon automaton hybrid. The remaining members of the group hastily ushered the surviving Firbolgs into a portal leading to Sanctuary, as the dragon burst through the root and into the air above Misery. The gang raced to the remains of the Bergen to to see what had become of Vander, but aside from a bit of blood and gore, there was nothing. Petren even used his boon from Alexa to try to rescue his friend, but she seemed to think he didn't need help. With no time to ponder on this, the group took to the air to try to tackle the dragon, who was decimating Shale's air fleet. Eventually realising it was a lost cause, they returned to Sanctuary, leaving the dragon with dominion over misery. But not before extracting some valuable intelligence from Tauren about the Emperor's plans to attempt the Ritual of Ascension once again, and soon. And also about his own plans to double-cross the Emperor and rule the automatons as Lieutenant of the Hushed One. On their return, after a lengthy airship journey, the gang discovered Sanctuary much expanded, with refugees across the Empire crowding its streets. Everyone gathered to mourn Vander and many people from the air fleet who lost their lives in misery. But it wasn't all grief. The sons of Chaol had been vanquished, and the elves of the forest of Lanasil were also free.
I'm really starting to learn that Pyrrhic victories are a bit of a speciality of ours.
Pyrrhus doesn't exist in this world, so I don't know what you're on about. Later, Rosalind confided to the team that with the expansion of Sanctuary, more people were required to cast the Mythil, an incantation that protected the town from danger. After much agonising, Petren decided his role was to remain and join those spellcasters, as well as tending to the new Runthala, now planted in Sanctuary. So, much diminished, the Order of the Heron, Tok and Seeksorrow, departed for Lunadyne, on Rosalind's advice, to attack the heart of the Empire with the goal of bringing it to its knees, eliminating the final Shadow Vanguard, Astrid. One last action before seeking to intercept the Emperor before he attempted the Ritual of Ascension. Meanwhile, in Lunadyne itself, two figures met on a darkened street.
Hello, Benny.
And that, my friends, is the story so far, part 5. I've been Izzy. Join us when we return with chapter 100, Surprising Circumstances.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.